along with myself before I was incarnated to do this work, which sort of suggests that we knew each other, that we maybe go back a long time, and yeah, I would say we're part of the same soul group. And I agreed to do the bit down here, and he would be the spiritual mouthpiece that operated from the spirit plane. Not that I would put myself on the same level as him. You understand? I know he's a more advanced soul than I am, simply by connecting with him. But I feel very honoured and very privileged that I can be his earthly instrument. And he said many times that we did make this agreement before I came here.
So do you feel that we are living in, amazing times or challenging times, one way to pull it, and obviously with messages that come from spirit, there is a very important message that needs to come through and let people know what's going on, maybe to wake up to the greater reality. But also, there's also messages that maybe are not coming from spirit.
Yeah, well, I think you've got to, discriminate between what is genuinely from spirit and what isn't. I mean, just to pick up on that point, we often make the we emphasize in the little preamble that we do before we do the trance demonstration that there's a lot of pseudo trance and mediumship that isn't mediumship, and people must determine for themselves what is genuine and what isn't. And we always say that the true criteria to measure trance by is not only the words that are spoken, the depth of the answers, but also the way in which they're conveyed. And the answer should always be instantly forthcoming. It shouldn't be a question of the guide saying, well, just hold on a minute, I'll just go and find out the answer for you. The answer is there. And I often find, and I say it's a sense of when the question's asked, the answer, even though I'm not there, I'm going to use the word I so that people can relate to this. I sense the answer immediately forming in the mind often before the question has finished being asked. And that's a true measure of genuine trance, I feel, But there's a lot of changes going on now. We do live in interesting times, exciting times, and despite all the surface doom and gloom and all the problems that we have in the world, I do sense there's an underlying current, an underlying energy shift, or a paradigm shift, if you like, that's opening up new horizons for a number of people. And the very fact that mediumship is more accessible to people now, I'm not sure we've got the balance right yet, but the very fact that people can listen and watch mediumship on TV and in theatres, it does show that it's becoming more acceptable, and there's some kind of a growing interest and awakening taking place at some level.
Yeah, no, indeed. I mean, what does White Feather say about the current times of people asking those sort of questions? Because there's a lot of fear with people at the moment about, are we heading towards more of a doom and gloom, apocalypse type future? Are we going to an all ascended future where it's all love and light? Or do we have to be participants in it and try and create the future we want to create, because there's people around that are trying to remove our freedom, if you like?
I think he's very aware of current issues, and it's interesting that the answers he gives are taking that into account. Actually, he goes back to fundamentally what the truth is. So when he speaks about natural law and about cause and effect and karmic issues, it has a place in any part of time, if you like. And what we try and say to people is that, unlike perhaps Orthodox religion, we're not trying to preach a message to anybody. What we're saying is that it comes fundamentally down to personal responsibility. And I think many of the people, if not all of the people we meet, are open-minded enough to they're trying to find answers to some of these really difficult questions about life and the universe in general. And one of the themes, really, the threads that come from spirit when asked these sort of questions in whichever context, is the fact that we do have to take our personal responsibility seriously, but also as a collective, if each one of us does that, then that in itself creates new light, new energy that can perhaps redress some of these difficult issues, some of the darkness. And intrinsically, there has to be light and dark that coexist anyway for there to be a middle path. And I think that's the sort of thing, the philosophy that White Feather comes out with, in that despite even the worst things in life, the most despotic people in life and despotic actions in life, there is still hope. And that hope comes from actually having a greater understanding and knowledge of truth in its widest sense. And I really feel that we've got a job to do in helping other people to perhaps think a little bit more independently, rather than just take what they're given from TV or film or newspapers as somebody else's opinion of the truth.
If I can just come in on that as well, Ian, because I mean, I totally agree with what Amanda's just said, but I kind of get the feeling you may be sort of hinting at you know, some of the things that we've got on the website. I don't like to use the word conspiracy theories, but certainly there are a lot of alternative news items and things that are posted at the moment, some of which we've highlighted on the website. And the one thing we try and make clear is that some of the things that we put on there are things that we ourselves have uncovered and are concerned about, and we like to distinguish that to White Feather's teaching, because White Feather doesn't teach about, you know, he will mention it if he's directly asked.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's clear we have to make a clear distinction between the two, you know.
Yeah.
But certainly some of the things that we've put on there, we are concerned about. I mean, if you want to touch on those, fine. You know, I haven't got a problem with that, because at the end of the day, I always say to people, if I know something, if we know something, then we feel it's our duty to tell people, and you can't unknow something once you know it.
Yeah, that's true.
Know?
I guess, yeah.
Not everybody might agree with it, but we feel we've got to put it out there anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why I bring it up is that, you know, there's people obviously worry about a lot of trivial things in their life. They might go and see mediums to talk about the things that may not really matter, but they're sort of stuck in a pattern. So you worry about lots of different little things, but then also there's people out there that witnessed the bigger things that are going on, and it really concerns them, and you don't know where to turn. You can't turn to the media for guidance, and the only way you can really turn is inwards. And you know, that's kind of a lot of people can do that when they get further down the spiritual path, but what a lot of people do is they're in that kind of seeking mode, aren't they? Where they want to read information, they want to go to, you know, read channelings, really, I guess, and find out information. Yeah.
I mean, what we say, you know, is you know, we freely put any information that we come into contact with, whether it's our own research or whether it comes from White Feather and the spirit world. We just put it out there and in the books, and we say to people, you know, this is what we know, what we believe to be true. You know, you must weigh up and consider for yourself, and as White Feather would say, you either accept it or reject it. But funnily enough, you know, Ian, I had a email from a lady going back a few months ago now, 12 months probably, and she looked at the website and she said, I've been a spiritualist, she said, all my life, and I've never yet you know, come across anything like that you talk about, where you mix up politics and spiritual teachings together. She said, I think it's wrong, and I, you know, I took on board what she said, but I emailed her back and I said, look, you know, I'm not interested in politics. What we put on the website isn't political. It's got nothing to do with politics. It's all about information and the truth. It's the truth that matters. And if there are aspects of political comment within it, fair enough, but we're certainly not interested in politics. I mean,